Welcome to the Oklahoma Outdoor Adventures Podcast, brought to you by Yellow Hat Outdoors. Welcome to episode 2, presented by Yellow Hat Outdoors. It's me, Glen.
And it's me, Hudson.
Back at you with number 2. I know you guys were just waiting, sitting on the edge of your seats for this episode, so here we are. We're back.
Gosh, you guys have been blowing up our email, blowing up our phones, wanting another episode, and we finally twist our arm. We got it going for you guys.
Here we are, sitting in the great state of Oklahoma, sitting here on a pretty chilly evening, kind of wet and dreary outside.
Yeah, it's good news for us whitetail hunters out here. We got some cold weather coming in, rut's just starting up, and it's definitely the time to be getting out there.
Yeah, it is time. So we were kind of thinking, what's a good episode 2 to talk about? So it's fall. It's that Ugg boots, pumpkin spice latte kind of season.
That's just Glen. But.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I'll take my Uggs off right now. Just kidding. I'm more of a cycle bar slides kind of guy.
Sure.
But we're thinking, tis the season. Let's talk some whitetail hunting. So it's that time of year. Hudson shot one, I don't know, about a month ago now.
Yeah, we talked about that last episode. And we've had some more deer harvested, some big deer harvested since then, which we will get into.
Yeah.
But, like Glenn said, we're just going to talk about kind of getting out in the deer woods and stuff. And we also want to kind of be a little resource for people who aren't avid hunters, that maybe you haven't gone out and hunted whitetail before and you kind of are looking for some knowledge a little bit on how you can get out there and go harvest some deer from our great state, which we have acres of public land here. So you don't even have to know, you don't have to have land. You don't need to know somebody that has land. You can get out there and you can shoot a trophy buck here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And also right now, it is bow season. So just want to throw that out there in case you're trying to go real quick here, which we probably should. I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head when gun and...
Yeah, gun kicks off the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I think this episode will be coming out kind of right around that time.
Okay.
So hopefully, you guys are sitting there, you start seeing some absolute tanks, and then your work's like, hey, you don't have to come in Thursday and Friday. And you're like, hey, I'm dipping out of the family dinner, and I'm going to go bring some dinner home. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I was like, what better time to talk about some public opportunities, private? I think stuff definitely applies to both. A lot of people are like, Oklahoma doesn't have any public land. And usually that's people from Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Montana. Yep. They just have literally unlimited public land to explore. And while we got a little bit more than Texas, I guess as compared to those states, we don't have that much. But it is plenty for you to get out and shoot a deer. It is plenty.
So growing up, I hunted a lot of public land with my father, hunted a lot around Lake Tenkiller. There's a lot of really great public land out there. Saw some big deer out there.
Yeah, Cherokee. Wildlife management area.
Cherokee.
Public hunting area also, I think.
Yes. Saw a lot of big deer out there. Didn't shoot them. Because
scared him.
Well, I still think about this buck that I was sitting in the stand and had this doe come running through prime rut. And for those that don't know, the rut is basically mating season for whitetail, and you can there's an elk rut and everything like that, but so during the rut for whitetail, you got these bucks are hunting for these does. They're looking for some women, and who isn't?
The wild women, the ripping the tail.
And so these bucks, they're literally running. So I'm sitting out there, Cherokee, and I'm sitting right off. There's food plots out there that the wildlife management plants and maintains. So it's our public land is really great, and our wildlife department does a really great job on maintaining it and really helping foster our deer population here. Yeah. But anyways, I'm sitting off this food plot, and I'm a little internal, and I hear something crashing through the woods, and I look over, and this doe is just running. And I was
running for her life.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, something's chasing her. And I hear some more crashing, and I see it in my dreams still. It wasn't some big, like 18, 19 crazy rack, but I will say this till I die, it was the best looking 10-point. It was picturesque. What you'll see paintings and drawings and stuff of 10-point symmetrical buck. That is what I saw. And he comes running through. I barked at him. I yelled. I tried anything I could to try and get this buck to stop long enough for me to fling an arrow at it at least. And he was head down gunning for this doe.
Really? He was not having
Did not stop.
Didn't care. He was trying to get him some doe.
No, yeah. And so that's that in essence can sum up kind of what it can be like deer hunting during the rut. Yeah. Which is also really exciting because that's awesome that I even got to see that. I was shaking, and it was really cool.
Yeah, their necks get all puffed up. They've got these glands on the back of basically inside of their knees on their hind legs called the tarsal glands.
Nerd.
And you can literally smell them. Like, you can smell them whenever they're peak rut. Those glands literally get like really dark. Mm-hmm. And it's just a cool time because you hear about animals going into heat. Well, that's the does going into heat is during the rut. So then these bucks just, they're chasing some tail out there. Some whitetail. Whitetail deer, yeah. But they smell these hormones, feel the pheromones, whatever it is in the air, and then you can have this magical time of this insane activity. You see bucks fighting, you see does moving along, getting pushed around by the bucks. I mean, it can be a really, really cool time.
And that is where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a lot of movement that are that's going on out in the woods right now. We're going to be posting even more. We got trail camera pictures that we're throwing up on our Instagram and stuff. And, we're getting lots of movement every night off our trail cameras. Yeah. And
is it still primarily at night for your big bucks? Or?
They're coming in during shooting light now.
Golly.
Yeah. And we got some big boys moving around. They're going. And I will say, I'm back on the bucks fighting each other. I've seen 2 different pictures of bucks that, it's kind of sad, ended up dying because they got their antlers locked in. But this was just this last week in Oklahoma. Really? 2 different pictures of dead deer because they died fighting each other.
What a shame.
Yeah.
But how cool to walk up on that.
Mm-hmm. It is. You start to see that. You'll also start to see little public service announcement because during the rut there's so much movement. Be careful whenever you're driving out on the roads, especially out from any of the cities and stuff. A lot of deer get hit during this time of year.
Yeah, this is like probably 60 to 80% of deer car collisions is right now. Just anytime you're literally trees or a decent sized field nearby, just head on a swivel, put the cell phone up, buckle up.
I went out this Monday and driving out, not even Not outside of Oklahoma city limits. Saw a dead doe on the side of the road.
Really?
Fresh, just got hit. I mean, probably a day old, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, so be careful while you're driving around out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of thinking about, someone's wanting to deer hunt. They're hearing all this stuff. It's the rut. What are you looking for if you're in the woods and you think it's rutting time? Where do I want to set up? Because we're assuming you got a spot. Maybe it's public, maybe it's private. There's deer around. There any factors you're looking for as far as maybe some signs you might see on little trees or in the dirt, or are you looking for food? What are you looking for right now?
Yeah. So first things first, you can look for tracks, and deer tracks are usually pretty, you can see them pretty well, especially the big deer. You can tell if it's a big buck by the indentation that it makes while it walks.
Yeah.
And you can see these game trails going. So ideally you'll want to set up kind of on a really well-used game trail, or you can set up on a food plot. Some people like to set up on food plots because it's kind of more open. So there's a better chance of you maybe getting your eyes on a deer.
Mm-hmm. Can be more exciting.
Can be more exciting. The problem with that is, especially if you're bow hunting, is that you could see deer, but you won't be able to have a shot at them if you're not set up at the right spot of where these deer are probably entering or exiting a food plot.
Right.
My dad personally loves the internal stands. Internal meaning we're inside the woods a little bit and off a game trail of where these deer like to come and go inside the woods. So we don't have hundreds of yards of open space where we can see really far, but it's a well-traveled spot, and there's a good chance you're going to see a deer. And then if you see a deer, it's going to be at close range. So that's one thing you want to look for is you're going to want to look for deer tracks, which that's something that we should put up on our Instagram is a picture. We got a lot of deer tracks.
Sure.
And deer have hooves. So that's one way you can tell. And you'll be able to tell because if something with a larger hoof than that is out there, then it's going to be like a horse or something.
Yeah.
Unless it's an absolutely massive
Yeah.
deer.
The hard thing we're at my cousin's ranch where we hunt is they have an alpaca llama rescue there.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
So literally you just see all these footprints. You're like, oh, baby, we are on the freaking highway of deer. And then you're like, oh, crap. Those are just freaking stupid llamas. Yeah. Gosh, those things are crazy.
So along with the tracks, you're also going to look for so bucks like to mark their territory, and one way they do this is by scraping these trees. Usually whitetail are going to scrape on some smaller trees, unlike elk, which are absolutely massive and can scrape on basically any tree that they so choose. But
it's their tree now.
It is their tree now. And so you're going to see, I would say scrapes maybe are a little harder to look for. Just because, one, there's a lot of trees out there, and not every tree is going to have a scrape on it. And sometimes it's hard to tell, is this a scrape or is this just did the weather do this? Like
just some missing bark or whatever.
But usually it is, you can kind of tell judging from the height of where this bark is rubbed off, and kind of what size of tree it is and everything.
I would say maybe usually trees less than 4 inches in diameter. You think that's pretty fair?
I would say that's pretty fair.
I know that's a pretty good sized tree, but a 4-inch tree is pretty big.
That's honestly probably one of the biggest trees.
Especially one that a buck would rub on.
Any tree bigger than that is honestly, that's too big for me. But I think that's
definitely too big for the buck.
Yeah. So that you see a scrape, there's at least a decent sized buck in the area. Usually the bigger boys are kind of marking their territory and letting the young guys know, hey, I'm here. You better step off. Third, whenever you're choosing a spot, so let's say you got a good trail, maybe you got some scrapes going around. You think, okay, well, we got a lot of deer activity here. Next thing, if you're looking to set up a tree stand, specifically a tree stand, also a ground blind, you need to be aware of this as well, is wind. You got to be aware of. Obviously, you can't predict like a month from now, like where the wind's going to be going. But you need to know, okay, if I have a trail going south to north, and these deer are coming from the south typically to the north, going onto some food plot or going to a pond or something, or maybe a bedding area, you're not going to want to sit there if the wind is going to be blowing down the trail. Because if the deer are coming from that direction and the wind's blowing your scent that way, the deer are going to wind you before you even see them.
Yeah, and so just not see anything. You'll be like, oh, I wonder why.
And you're probably going to hear something like a whoosh, and that is a doe blowing and letting everybody else know that there's something over there that they don't like. Yeah. And every other deer is going to hear that, and they're going to know that, all right, we're going to stay clear of there. Yeah.
And does also, I think they release a little bit of a scent when they do that. Mm-hmm. And, I guess this is not a bad time to mention, in the scent world, like, there's a whole lot of products and stuff that claim they block scents.
Yep.
I know a little bit about science, not enough for me to know if that's a scam or not. I don't think it hurts to be a freak about your scent as far as like not cooking in your clothes, not eating in them, try and put them on at the field. There's all sorts of sprays and laundry. If your clothes smell like fresh laundry or like you can smell cologne, like a deer's gonna be like, what the heck is that? They know that's not normal.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea. If you're not too familiar with ways to minimize your scent, it's just always a good idea to have that wind blowing in your face and have the deer scent blowing towards you. It just never hurts. There's things that spray out ozone. There's, different products for that. There's all sorts of sprays and stuff. My cousin is a total freak about it, and he kills a lot of deer. Most people that shoot a lot of deer, I feel like, are freaks about it, and big deer.
And then there's other guys that shoot a lot of big deer that don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
For the most, that obviously they're not putting on cologne or anything and going out there, but
yeah,
there's guys that kill a lot of deer that don't use any scent products or anything.
Yeah. You can always just be like, well, my grandpa used to shoot him in red flannel smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that.
But does it give you an edge? I would say, me personally, in situations, yes.
Yeah.
And it would be worth to use some of these products or take some of these precautions in regards to minimizing your scent. Like Glenn said, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, we were synced up there.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. So we've covered trail, scrapes, wind, and kind of where you want to, put up your either tree stand or ground blind. And also, doesn't mean you need to purchase yourself a deer stand or a ground blind. You can hunt on the ground.
Yep.
My dad has killed many a deer hunting on the ground. My dad's friend, Armando, has killed big deer hunting on the ground. But when they started hunting, tree stands didn't exist.
Yeah.
So this is not us saying that you need to go out and find yourself a $200, $300 piece of equipment just to get out there and hunt. You can sneak hunt. You can set up under a tree with some good cover, which goes to our next point. Make sure if you're going to go out there and set up a blind or a tree stand, or if you're just going to go sit under a tree, you cannot be too much out in the open.
Yeah.
You want just enough to where you have shooting lanes and you have clear shots where you believe that these deer are coming through. But if you're too far out in the open, it's happened to me. It's happened to probably every deer hunter where maybe you think that you're concealed well enough, and this deer will step out and they will pick you off so fast it's not even funny.
Just instantly they like just look up at you.
Yeah, especially these deer. Especially these deer that come to these places fairly often, they know if something's different. Mm-hmm. You can't stress this enough. You cannot underestimate a deer's sense of smell and eyesight.
Yep. That's how they survive.
And they are good at it. And well, I mean, if you guys get out there, you'll probably experience how good they are at it.
Yeah. You'll get busted. It's part of it.
It's part of it.
Learning curve.
It's gonna happen. I sincerely hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But so right now, that's what I'd say. I would say those, what was that, 4 or 5 things we got.
It's really good.
Find the trail, figure out where they're coming from, be wary of what wind is most advantageous to you, make sure that you're concealed well, but not too well to where you're going to miss out on a shot because there's branches in your way and stuff.
Yeah.
And look for other signs besides the trail. You got scrapes and stuff like that. You can find places that deer bed down. You can tell from the grass that, okay, well, something was laying here. And you can also say you're on a food plot, you can tell if the wheat's been getting eaten on or whatever. Is that planting a clover, anything.
Yeah.
So I think those are probably the main things that you need to have in your mind whenever you're going to be going out there, hopefully this season.
Yeah. And I think a lot about whenever it comes to that stuff, I always think about where are the most variables like overlapping. So where am I seeing food and rubs and a deer highway? You know, like maybe there's those 3 things are in a spot. It's like, oh baby, this just stacked more things in my favor.
Yeah.
And set things up for me to see a little more. So I don't know. I kind of think about that too. Because I was out this last weekend, which, you know, when this comes out, it'll be a few weekends ago. But let's just say I was out first weekend of November here. And I was kind of trying to decide, do I want to hunt, you know, down in the creek bottom and kind of think about, you know, I'm looking for these rubs and scrapes. I'm looking for, you know, this close quarter interior kind of look. Or do I want to see some deer? Do I want to maybe have some run past me while they're out running? Because I wasn't sure what part of, you know, it's that time of the season where it's the transition. So
yeah,
maybe
whenever the rut starts, there's going to be different areas that start rutting before others.
Yeah,
and it depends on temperature and location and all this different stuff. So you'll see, you know, I don't know, the Panhandle is going to start rutting before you got Southeast Oklahoma's rut starts.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it's always like during the transition, it's kind of, okay, it is where I'm hunting. Are we rutting here? Or are we chasing some does, looking for some tail?
Yeah.
Or not? I don't know.
Yeah. Is there a wave kind of coming down from the north to the south? Is it here yet? Or am I seeing some things that are indicating that or what? But yeah, so I was kind of like, I'm not sure where I'm at on all this. So what I decided to do is I was like, I'm going to overlook a big field, not necessarily a field, kind of some scrub brush. And I was along some trails that, I mean, I've shot my nicest deer out of. And so I knew to the south along the fence line, they'd be moving along there, kind of a little bit of tree cover down towards the creek bottom. I knew kind of to my north, there was a good kind of corridor that they were moving up and down. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to start out here and kind of see what happens. Because the rest, I had my uncle and my dad were down in the creek bottom. Another one of my cousins was kind of in a little bit of an area that was slightly more protected, but still, kind of outside the creek bottom. And so I was sitting up there and, really saw a pretty good number of deer down to the south of me, just moving along the tree cover there. They were just picking along, and I guess right at shooting light, I looked over, and of course I'm the worst at it. We were a little late getting out there. It's hard on the weekends for me to get out of a warm, comfy bed and like go out there and freeze. Like It was the first like cold day of the season too. Like it was 35. Like I don't think it'd been below probably 45. And so I was pretty excited actually because I was like, first good cold front kind of here, pretty still on the wind. I had the wind blowing kind of from the southwest. So where I thought the deer were going to be coming from, I knew they wouldn't wind me. And so I was pretty excited, but, classic, just slept in a little too long. And so we got out there, a couple minutes after shooting light, which, I guess is a good time to point out deer are most active just after first light and just before sundown.
Yep.
And so, like, it just never hurts to be out there during those times because that's the most likely time. Now, you have the outliers that, I killed the biggest buck of my life at noon. Well, yes, that happens.
Yeah, especially during the rut, that can happen. Because, it's those bucks aren't picky when it comes to when they find their woman.
That's right.
They're going to be going after it.
Yeah. Like a frat boy at a sorority party, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But anyway, so I was looking down to the south and I saw these two does kind of picking their way through it. And I'm always like, if I stare at somewhere too long, I literally I'm like, oh man, dude, that's definitely one. And I pull up the binoculars and of course, like it's just a tree that's been there the whole morning.
Done that so many times.
It's like kind of frustrating, but also you're like, that's not a deer. And you pull up, you're like, oh crap. Like there's actually one there.
The one time you're like, I'm just messing with myself. And then it's like, those antlers just moved. Or like that brown patch just actually took a step.
Yeah. So I was like kind of doing that. In that stand was where I killed my biggest buck. And so like that exact thing happened. Like we got out there like actually pretty late that time I shot the buck, like 30 minutes after shooting light. And I literally sat down and looked over. And I was like, oh gosh, my eyes are already playing tricks on me. And then like this 8-point rack just turned and I was like, oh baby. But anyway, so I saw these two does kind of working through. And then about 20 minutes after, I saw a pretty nice buck kind of following them. And he wasn't hot on their tail. Like, rutting time, like, I mean, they are truly like chasing him, just little kind of like kids on a playground, like they're chasing him around.
It truly is. So we have a video of a buck chasing some does on our Instagram. It's I would say whimsical is how I would describe it.
Great vocabulary.
So, some days it can be a little aggressive.
Yeah,
but usually it's almost funny. Like what it's like they're playing.
They're just running around, kind of romping around. This one he was moving. He was just following them. He knew right where they had gone. And so he stopped actually by the cedar tree that both of them did. And I realized he was making a scrape in the ground. So deer rub their antlers on trees, but they also will bite off some small branches and scratch in the ground and pee in it. And so they have like some glands, I think, in their mouth.
I've done that before.
Yeah, once or twice. Which they have some glands in their mouth, I believe, or maybe on their neck. I can't remember. That they rub on the tree, and then they'll also pee in it, pretty much to mark their territory. And so that's another thing you can be looking for is just kind of a small, like, kind of spot in the ground. Definitely a little bigger than a dinner plate, but not any bigger than like a cookie sheet.
Could smell rancid.
Yeah, honestly, you could smell it if like a bunch had been working them. So he stopped there, and I got my binoculars on him. Sure, I was using a little crossbow action. But I was like, man, 110
Heck yeah.
yards. Probably can't aim one up and, just let it fly. But
I did that earlier this year. Completely whiffed, but all right.
how far was that one?
I was I thought it was 90. It was about 100.
Oh, gosh.
I went under it. In my defense, I was already angry at these does. They'd ran off like 2 or 3 times. And this was like second week of the season this year. So, that was my furthest shot I've ever taken at an animal. Was a miss.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah. So I ended up, I didn't see any. Well, I saw a couple more does and a little small 4-point kind of following them. And he actually bedded down in that kind of scrub brush to the south of me. But I just kind of eased out of there because I was ready for some breakfast at that point.
Sure.
So, of course, classic Glen, I let my stomach and my brain, well, probably not my brain, but my eyelids and my stomach do the talking. So,
tell them the breakfast you had. I thought it was going to be Pop-Tarts. But
sure. Hey, fun fact about me, I great value, Walmart brand, brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts, starting in the 3rd grade until, about a year and a half ago. So that's 2020 to, how old are you in 3rd grade? Like 8?
yeah.
Let's say 13, 14 years. I ate brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts 6 out of 7 days a week at least. So I love them. Still do to this day. Like, that is a treat. But no, we went back, had some biscuits, some bacon, some eggs. My cousin ended up, his stomach was hurting. He slept in, and I was like, oh, yeah. I know what you're doing for us. I texted him when we're walking back. I was like, bro, throw some biscuits in because I'm ravenous. So it's kind of nice. Came back to a hot breakfast.
That is always nice about having like deer camp or like having a bunch of guys out like duck hunting and stuff. Like, not to say that you need to have like a nice like breakfast every time, but it's just like, I don't know. That's a little community thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's freaking throw some sausages and some eggs and let's crush it.
Yeah. No, that's what it is. Deer camp for me, I'm not a super passionate deer hunter. I like to go. I like to be outside. But for me, like 99.99% of it is just being out there with my family, with the boys, absolutely just pounding some food. I got a cousin from Louisiana, and so he is always
Cajun boy
bringing it. Yeah. He'll cook red beans and rice, jambalaya, gumbo.
I'm a sucker for some Cajun food.
Dude, it's good too. He's got some recipes down. I mean, even like he'll do like fried rabbit, fried fish.
I want to try that. I want to try the fried rabbit.
Dude, it's good. He did 2 years ago while we were turkey hunting. He did deer tenderloin fajitas. Oh. And you would not believe, like, it was genuinely, like, I took a bite and I started drooling. Like, it was so good. It had been marinating for, like, 3 or 4 days. Throw it in the freaking cast iron. You're hungry after a day of hunting. It was good.
Here's another thing for you chefs out there, for you people that love to cook. Could probably be nothing better than you going out harvesting your own meat. The freshness of it. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it is. It's kind of like the difference of getting a steak at Walmart and then getting a steak from your buddy who just had a cow slaughtered like a couple weeks ago. Like,
yeah.
It's good. It's
good. You can immediately tell the difference.
Yeah. I don't even remember where I was going with all that. I guess
you went back, you had breakfast.
Yeah, pounded some breakfast, and then from there we were kind of like, well, like, it's like 11:30. Ended up my cousin who lives out there, she came by, and so I guess this goes family. Like, you got to take advantage of the times that you're together. Especially, it's cool. I say cousin, she's more like a great aunt. But she's she's definitely older, and so it's really cool to kind of hear some family history, hear about some family we don't get to see too often. Kind of, just I love sitting down and talking with older people, and she's lived all over the state of Oklahoma and lived out, in western Oklahoma for a while, and so it's just cool to kind of hear someone like that's perspective, their stories of, growing up out there. The ranch that we hunt has actually been in our family since the land run of Oklahoma.
Cool.
Like, that is
so cool.
It's one of my favorite things, like, to get to say that. Like, they literally got it in the land run. So it's a really special place for me, just all the memories of shooting my first deer, shooting my first turkey out there. A lot of my family has caught their first fish out there, just like, gosh, it just makes me so happy to go out there. Like, I could not see anything, but dude, I just sit on that front porch, overlook the pond. Basically, you can see all the way out. We're about 10 miles from the Texas border. So you can see, out a good ways. We've got a spot that we've rangefindered at like 750 yards. And we're sitting there waiting for gun season because if we see a doe out there, we're going to all try and take some pop shots. My cousin is convinced he can hit one, which he has. I mean, there's some big deer been shot off the porch blind.
Everybody get your rifles out. We're about to take some shots.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just hilarious. But so we sat out there, chit-chatted for a while, had some breakfast. Of course, it's vacation. I took a little nap, sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, in your defense is, coming up on a little midday action, I guess, a little bit, especially for hunting day.
Yeah.
A little bit of midday, and we're kind of maybe in that rut transition. Not entirely sure. Might not be a super active time. I will say I've taken my fair share of naps on all day hunts.
Yeah.
Have some food, and then I just kind of doze off a little bit, whether that be in the tree stand or I hike my way back to the truck and sit in the heater.
Yeah, dude, some days that heater is the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get kind of paranoid about falling asleep in the tree stand, so I was like, I'll just take a little nap here and try and stay awake. But went back out that evening. I didn't see jack squat. Like, it was just one of those evenings.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to sit. I sit at a desk most of the week, and then I'm sitting here for 4 hours and don't see crap.
Yeah.
But, daylight's fading. I'm like, dude, I'm freaking bored. Pull out my phone. I'm sitting there kind of scrolling.
I think you were texting me.
Yeah, I was literally texting Hudson. I was texting our other buddy Landon. Like, I was like, dude, I'm freaking bored.
I can tell when he's bored because it's like immediate replies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, he's not seeing crap.
He's never got immediate reply during the work week. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm getting bored, and it's probably 15 minutes till shooting light. We were meeting back at the truck at 7:15, and it's like 6:50 or so. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, this sucks. I'm ready for dinner. I'm sick of sitting here. Been in the stand for about 4 hours now. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm getting cold. I mean, my phone's dying because I've been texting Hudson so much, and just, of course, I had service in that one spot, so I'm just bebopping around on my phone, playing some Clash of Clans and stuff. Which, side story, I did clutch out of war at about 8:15, 5 minutes before. I didn't have good enough service, and I just got on there. Somehow it worked. Anyway, just small plug, 405 Hive if you want to join the clan, baby. But anyway, so it's 6:50. We're meeting at the truck at 7:15, and I get a text, and it's like, just shot a buck from my dad. He's down in the creek bottom, and I was like, there's no service in the creek bottom. He's like, I'm at the truck, and I was like, sweet. Well, I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm not shooting one if he just smoked, something. Yeah. And so I'm walking. I'm like, okay, he shot a buck in the creek bottom. So I'm like, man, I'm like, surely if it's like a Boone and Crockett, he would have said something. you know, all these thoughts are running through my head. I'm like, dude, I hope he didn't just shoot a little spike because he wanted some meat in the freezer. You know, I'm like, my mind is going 1,000 places. And so I'm sitting there. I'm like, dude, I want some content for Yellow Hat. I want a true stud of a deer on here. And so I'm walking back and I'm thinking about all this different stuff. You know, how big is it? How, you know, what kind of deer are we going to see? And so I get to the truck and my cousin meets us over there, and my uncle was on the other side of the creek bottom. So he was actually just walking back to the house to the cabin that's out there. And so we're at the truck. I'm like, so Dad, you got one? He's like, yeah, I got a nice buck. I was like, he was like, yeah, I came in, you know, all this stuff. And I was like, okay. I was like, so you think you got a good shot on him? He's like, yeah, I think I got a really good shot on him. It was pretty close. And so I was like, all right, man, well, we can go down in there.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty worried because earlier that morning, I got a text from one of our buddies that shot one and he couldn't find it. Like, I mean, spent all day, bumped it a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Hudson's deer, bumping it. And I'm just like, I was worried.
Question, how long was it from when he shot it to when you guys started going to look for it?
He shot it about he said 6:49. Like, he knew that number. 6:49, yeah. So he shot it at 6:49. We were up at the truck about 7:15. So it's 25, 30 minutes.
Not long.
And they're like, all right, well, let's go down there. And I'm sitting there like, no, we're not going down there. Like, no, like, even a gun, I give it 30 minutes minimum. And so all I'm thinking is this horror stories of Hudson's, you know, deer getting bumped once. I'm thinking of our buddy's deer. I'm keeping him anonymous, you know, not finding it. And
he probably appreciates that.
Yeah, just for his pride and his pure frustrations.
We'll bring it up whenever he comes on here.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just thinking of all these just bad situations that could be happening, could be just a part of this all. And man, just a million things are going through my head. So we drive the truck down in the bottom. I'm the youngest one there. I don't get a say in anything. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's
dad, older cousin, uncle, like
they're calling the shots.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I say, like they're in charge.
Yeah.
So it's an alpha kind of situation. You know, 99% of the time I'm the alpha in the room, but in that scenario, I was not. Just a little beta, gamma, sigma, you know, kind
frat
of
boy,
fratty. So anyway, so we start driving down in there. So we take the truck around, we park it, walk down in there, get the deer card out, and I'm like, this is jinxing us. Like,
yeah,
I was getting so nervous. And side note about me, I'm really bad about losing things. I just am. That's how I am, how God made me. And I don't have a flashlight. I got a little light on my hat, and it's like, I mean, it's like a 5-year-old like orange hat, but it's got like the little click lights in the bill, you know? So it like kind of just barely dimly, it'll show if there's a branch in the way, and that's about it.
It barely constitutes a light.
Yeah, like the moon is brighter than this light. And so I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to track any blood with this thing. So I'm like getting out my phone flashlight, and my cousin actually, it was pretty cool. He got like a blood light, he called it. And it was like kind of like UV light, but it was bright as heck. It was a flashlight. And dude, it made that red blood glow. That's and really so cool. We sit down, we go to the stand, basically where, you know, my dad was sitting, and we're like, all right, talk us through. And so one thing we like to do, and, you know, this, people can get into the ethics of this, but we like to put down a little corn with, you know, some sort of stuff on it. You know, I don't know what any other brands are, but kind of like Big and J. It's kind of some mineral. It smells pretty strong. It's kind of just a feed supplement. We mix it in with a little corn. Just kind of make a little pile, just One, it kind of slows deer down, but two, maybe that scent kind of brings them in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's cheating. I don't care if you think it is.
Some people have just the strongest opinions on that, and then
debate me if you want.
Well, I don't want to get into that right now.
Yeah, I'm like, I can see someone's perspective if it's a deer feeder, it goes off at 7:32, and the deer are waiting for it, every day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my dad had put down, probably, I don't know, 40-pound sack of corn, maybe 10 pounds, and mixed in, a few pounds of this kind of supplement stuff with it. And it was literally at like 15 yards from his stand. And it's a pretty tall tree stand. So he's up there with the crossbow. And in the morning, he had actually had a big bruiser kind of coming through. And he said he just got in a rush. He was standing up. Got in a rush, and it didn't blow or anything. He didn't spook it, but it just kind of turned around and just kind of eased off.
Yeah.
The big ones, they don't move. They just ease around.
They know that they're the big dogs.
Yeah. It's like almost like a ghost in the swamp. Like they just kind of float along, but just lumber along there. So he knew there's some big deer kind of moving through there. And again, it's about 6:40. He's down in the creek bottom shooting like 7:10. And he has these two does come in, and he's kind of like, I really want some meat for the freezer, thinking about it's always good to take some does. He's kind of going through that whole routine, and he's kind of looking at his watch. He's like, it's late, Saturday night. Like, if I shoot one of these, we're going to have to clean it tonight and all this stuff. And he sees this. He's watching these does, and he kind of hears something, and he looks over, and he sees his buck coming in. And he said, like, when he saw it, it was about 15 yards. Like, it had truly, like, snuck in there. And he's sitting there.
It's so crazy how deer can just sneak up on you. They're so quiet.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can hear them coming, during the ride if they're running through or something, but I'll be sitting there looking one way, and I'll turn back to the left, and there's just a deer right there.
Yeah, they teleport.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, so he's sitting there, and he's like, oh, crap, like, that thing is literally at 15 yards. He's like, man, that's a pretty nice buck. Like, I want it, but it's late. He's, like, literally, like, kind of playing that game, which I'm like,
yeah,
I understand kind of where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Because when you pull the trigger, that's when the work starts. You're tracking it. You're hauling it out. You're skinning it. Maybe you're gutting it. Maybe you're quartering it.
Depends how fast you want to go.
Yeah. So anyway, you're, kind of all these things are going through his head, and he's sitting there, and he said he has a crossbow in his hands, and he's looking at it. He's like, that's a nice buck. Like, I think I want it. And he's like, I know I want it. And he said it goes around this tree. And so he kind of pulls the crossbow up. And he said it stepped out behind this tree and just stopped. Just broadside, 15 yards.
Picture perfect.
Just perfect. And he was literally like, he told me like multiple times, he's like, dude, I just felt like it was a gift. And I was like, wow, that is awesome.
It gives you some goosebumps.
It does. It gives me goosebumps. Because I'm like, you spend so many days in the woods chasing. Like, not that he's a hardcore deer hunter, but probably for the last 10 years been going out there, and so never to really, shot some decent deer, but never to shoot just a really nice mature deer,
a trophy.
Which we'll get to that in a second. But so he's like, dude, this is my chance. This is a beautiful deer. Pulls the trigger, hears that crossbow goes off, and just swag. And so, like, whenever you shoot a deer, you can hear the thud of the arrow hitting it. And this thing takes off up the hill, and he's like, oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Like, I just shot one.
It's brown. It's down.
And so, 6:49, according to his watch. He goes down, looks at the arrow, just covered in blood. He sniffs it, makes sure, he was like, man, I think it was a good shot, but... So he heads up to the truck to meet us up there. And so, by this point, we're back down there. My cousin's got his little flashlight out. I'm following along. I turned my flashlight off. I didn't. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of following blood up the hill, and my dad goes, "There it is." And I'm like your heart just starts
Stop.
beating like faster. And so we were literally like 80, not even 80, 60 yards from the crime scene, like just right up the hill.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
I just see this thing laying on its side. I'm like, oh man, it's a pretty nice belly on that thing. I start walking up closer. I was like, oh my gosh. And we get up there, and like, I'm literally shaking for him. This thing has 16 points on it. 16 freaking scoreable points. And I'm not talking like little tiny stickers and stuff. Every point like was at least a half inch or an inch. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, like, this is crazy. So we're sitting there and like we're high-fiving, like fist pumping, like, and then like my uncle's like at the cabin, he's like, how big is the deer? And my cousin sends back 16 pointer, and he goes, be there in a second. And like the cabin is far, like it's like probably a quarter mile at least. That dude's there in like 2 minutes. He literally full sprint, full sprinted over there, dude. Mortician run, you know. And so my dad is literally just holding the biggest deer I've ever laid my eyes on, like. I've obviously seen some really big mounts and stuff, but I've never seen in person like, just a deer of that caliber. And so just immediately, it's time. We get the flashlights going. I'm taking videos. I've taken pictures. Like, it was just a really cool moment. Just, I mean, honestly, to witness a deer of that caliber just dead, like in his hands.
It's amazing. I mean, the only deer I've seen that was like that was one that my dad shot, but like just being that close to it and being like, wow, like this was truly a king of the woods.
Yeah.
Like, it'll give you goosebumps, and like you get jittery, you got the adrenaline flowing through. You're like, oh my gosh, this just happened.
Yeah, and then it all kind of comes real. So I'm just so thankful it was a good shot. I'm thankful, to have me in the freezer. I'm more thankful that he shot it than me. Like, I really mean that. Like, I like deer hunting, but like that's a deer of a lifetime. And so really just getting to see that, and we got it on the cart. I just literally, I've been listening to little David Goggins, little Jocko. I was like, I'm pulling this deer cart out myself, boys. And I literally just hulked this thing out. It felt good. Got a little. It just felt like I needed to put in some sweat for this thing.
Get a little simulated hunt. Shout out to Liver King.
That's right. Freaking Liver King. Freaking steroid boy, as I like to call him. Steroid peasant. He's going to kill me for that one. But anyway, so we got it back to the truck, got it out of there, took just as many pictures as we could. We got some pictures of it up on our Instagram at Yellow Hat Outdoors. Posted a really cool reel about it, kind of a hype video.
We're kind of proud of it.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Give it a like.
I worked a lot of hours on that puppy, so not hours, minutes, because I'm really good at video editing. But anyway, so he ended up with just a nice deer. Of course, we go back out the next morning. Shocker, it was daylight savings time. None of us realized sunrise gets moved up, an hour. And so we're scrambling. We get out there late. My dad spooked another he said a big buck off of it. And I was just like,
oh my God.
You got to be joking me. Like, of course,
What if he doubled up?
Yeah,
on just big boys.
Honestly. So
tell what was the weight and score of it?
Yeah, so we weighed it at 200 pounds on the scale. The problem is we forgot to zero it. And so problem. I think it was probably a little bigger because that's guts and everything. Mm-hmm. But the stomach was just full.
You guys can look at the picture of this bad boy in the video, and it's a big body.
Yeah, like the stomach was like as big as a goose. Like, it was stuffed.
Yeah.
But in the whole inside of it, I mean, I've never seen a deer with that much fat on it. Like, I mean, it was probably an eighth to a quarter inch thick, almost over its whole body. It was awesome.
You gonna sneak some meat off that bad boy or what?
Oh yeah, dude! I actually denied some freaking backstrap tonight for this podcast. So
wow,
you guys should thank me.
Dedication.
That's right.
We do it for you guys.
That's right. We do it for the crowd. I almost said the vine, but it's a little late for the vine.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Elon's bringing it back. Elon's bringing it back.
Yeah. So anyway, we just got to harvest just the most beautiful buck ever. Scored 159.5.
Amazing.
Which is just, I mean, insane caliber deer.
That's a trophy.
I mean, especially free range, Western Oklahoma. No, there's not much ag around there, especially not near us. Probably within, I mean, if you drive 2 miles, you can get to some wheat fields, but it's not like the soybeans and corn of Iowa. So it was so special to get to, harvest a deer like that. And so, just turned out to be just a great trip. So it was awesome. Worked out well being down in the creek bottom, following those corridors, the interior side of the woods. Scent, I mean, the wind was blowing perfect. His scent, the deer scent towards my dad. It was a perfect night, perfect weekend. Shout out to Tom for the freaking tank of a freaking buck. So it was a good time. It was awesome.
Love that. And you're going to remember that for probably the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just.
I'm probably not going to outshoot it. Maybe I will.
Hey,
maybe
we make a trip up to some public land in Iowa and shoot some corn-fed bruiser up there.
Yeah.
But also, I do want to freaking, not to say Oklahoma doesn't have absolutely massive deer. I mean, your dad just shot one. And Oklahoma's got some big deer. So, no need to go to Iowa. Let's just freaking.
There really isn't. You can go hunt the ag fields of north central Oklahoma and shoot just as big a deer. Probably not in the same numbers, but you can shoot that caliber of deer in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You can. So, I'm not one of those guys that has a burning passion for deer hunting. I love to go to deer camp. Love to be out there in the woods. It's such a cool. It's a really cool opportunity to get a lot of meat for the freezer.
A lot of good meat.
Good meat for the freezer. Some jerky, some backstrap, some ground. I make ground tacos, chili. I mean, dude, I love it.
We should be next episode. We'll probably be talking about some recipes.
Yeah.
If anybody's curious on preparing, backstrap or making some jerky and stuff.
Yeah. We'll definitely cover some recipes. Neither of us are Chef Boyardee.
We got a buddy that's a Chef Boyardee.
We actually do.
So hopefully we get Colton on here.
Yeah, give us the rundown.
Yeah, this man could talk probably for hours on preparing different cuts of wild game. But I've had some of his mule deer shepherd's pie, and it was to die for.
Shepherd's pie, huh?
Shepherd's pie. I think you would love it.
I probably would.
It's pretty much just meat and mashed potatoes with a little bit of carrots and peas in there. Maybe.
I'm in. I'm literally in. That sounds awesome.
It's good.
Dude, I was in Waco a couple weeks ago. Had a thing. I can't remember what they called it. It was at this place called George's, I think. It's like George W. Bush's bar, I think. Kind of named after him. Dude, I forgot what it was called, but it was literally a heap of mashed potatoes. Then literally just chicken fried steak bites piled on top with cheese and gravy. I literally made it through about a quarter and was going to throw up because I had literally 3 more hours in the car. I was like, I can't stuff myself right now. I'm actually going to get sick.
I might have a heart attack.
I was like, you walk out of there I'm not out of shape, but I was breathing heavy. I was breathing heavy.
Yeah,
got
standing
the
up.
Sweats. Yeah. So, Anyway.
Well, so that's our little bit on deer hunting, I guess, and some tips on how to get out there, and a little fun story for you guys that just happened, and showing you what can be possible going out deer hunting in Oklahoma. But I think we got a new segment coming up that we're going to be tackling some questions.
Oh yeah.
That could make or break relationships in the hunting community.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Here's our question for today that we'll wrap things up with. Pretty controversial question. Been hearing about it on some podcasts and stuff right now. So here's a question, Hudson. I want your opinion on it. We actually didn't prepare for this, so this should be all natural. I've been thinking about my answer for a little while. Do you think you can have a secret spot on public land, and if someone takes it to you, is it okay to go back without them?
That's tough, because the first thing you have to consider is, what's your relationship with this person? You know, if it's one of our close buddies, I'm going to go back to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll fist fight over it.
Yeah.
I don't care. It really depends on how good the spot is. If it's somebody that you're acquaintances with, a buddy from a buddy, I think at the very minimum you gotta ask permission.
Yeah,
and that sounds a little controversial because it's public land; anybody can hunt there.
Right, you could have found it first.
But me personally, if it's not one of our close friends, if I want to go back out there again, I'm gonna be like, hey man, is it cool if I go back out there? Like, I know it's public land, but I feel like it's kind of your spot. And that's also to say, here in Oklahoma public land, you can get all you want in terms of hiking back into spots.
Yep.
You do not have to worry about maybe hunting somewhere that someone else is hunting. I mean, you do a little bit just because it's public land, but if you really want to get somewhere where you don't think other people are going to go, and you think it's going to, you can get there. It's going to take a little work. I've been on my fair share of my father Tim Hawes' death marches. Those have become legend, and they are not fun, but I will say you will see some deer.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on it. If it was one of our close buddies, I'm going to go back there. If you told me about a spot, I'm going to go back there and be like, hey, Glenn, I'm at this spot right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, are you effing serious? Because I'm going to get pissed.
Yeah, you'll cool off by the time I get back, unless I shoot a massive something.
Yeah, you shoot the biggest buck of your life, and I'm going to be actually a little upset. But I'll be happy, but upset.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think if I take someone to a spot, it's controversial. I expect them to say something to me before they go back. And I think the people that would really piss me off if they went back wouldn't ask anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of people. We all have those people in our lives that we maybe trust with something, and we literally get burned on it. And like we have those people we've taken to a spot, and literally next thing you know, you see on freaking Instagram, they're sitting there showing that spot got a location dropped on it. I usually think waterfowl. So
and that's what I was about to say. I'm not a big waterfowl hunter, but I feel like this pertains a lot more to waterfowl spots.
Yeah.
I've never gone waterfowl hunting. Hopefully I'm going to be going out for my first time here in a little bit, but I think it does pertain more because, deer spots, it's not like he's going to sit in the same tree as you. You could be in the same area.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the same thing. But, waterfowl, it's like if you're slinging lead through the air for about 2 hours at some ducks or geese coming through, it's like, okay, well, you just blew that spot up for a little bit.
Yeah, they're probably not coming back.
Yeah.
And especially if, I put in the work to go back there, scout it out. I know there's birds there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm watching it. I don't tell anyone about it. I don't see any proof of anyone getting out there. I put in all this work to say this, this is a good spot. And then I see a picture of you out there freaking burning up some birds. And you didn't say a word. You didn't even invite me. Didn't even have the courtesy to invite me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fired up. I don't know. Maybe I don't have grounds to be fired up, but I'm going to be a little upset. Now, if you find a spot if you find one of my spots, I've never told you about it. I've never taken you there. You don't even know I hunt it, and I see a picture of you at it. That's all right. Like that's, that's part of it.
Hey,
it's public land.
Honestly, kudos because you had the wherewithal to go out there and find it.
Yeah, and I definitely like to get off the beaten path. I'm not very smart. I'm not very good at anything I do. So it's hard if I can work a little harder to get way back into a spot. Then I'm going to do it. So if you want to work that hard to get back there, by all means, whatever. So I don't know, like, gosh, dude. But when you get burned on a spot like that, no matter what, like, you can sympathize. And it's frustrating.
It will hurt even more if it's not on public land.
Oh, so, private land is a whole nother story.
A whole nother thing.
I have full rights to actually literally beat you up if you freaking go on my private spots. If you burn a relationship with someone I care about for everyone, for over you wanting to hunt or fish on my spot, that is like genuinely unacceptable.
That is a breaking of one of the 10 commandments of hunting.
Yeah. I'm a very nice guy. I have no patience for that. I really don't. And I'm like, maybe it's because I haven't been burned too bad yet. I'm very cautious about who I take. I'm very cautious about that, and I don't want that to ever come into play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, cautious on private land because, it's also like you said, like it doesn't even have to be you have a real personal relationship with the landowner. It could be a farmer that you talked to a year ago. You hunted there last year. Yeah. They let you come back out and hunt the next year.
Maybe you brought them a 6-pack, or maybe you helped them fix some fence or something.
Yeah. You built a little relationship, and there's a little trust in there. And then for somebody to come in and potentially drive a wedge in that, or to be like give that landowner a reason to say, hey, you know what? I think we're gonna have to stop.
Yeah, you're not allowed to hunt here anymore.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
and that there's friendships will be lost, blood could be shed.
Yeah,
it can get heated.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm all for being fair. I'm all for sharing spots. I mean, if you get on there, you beat me to it, or whatever, you want to pay for a lease and I'm not willing to, that's fine. But I'm not a big fan of stabbing people in the back. It's not how I live my life. It's not how I want to be involved with anyone. I'm thinking about a story where we went goose hunting on a field, and a guy we know literally pulled his truck into the field and did a donut in a farmer's wheat field. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's...
And that's the kind of thing that's like, yeah, they're not going to invite it back.
Yeah.
So if you come on a hunt with me, please be respectful of me, but more than me, wherever we are, please be respectful of it. Pick up some trash, pick up your shells. Don't leave ruts in a farmer's field. If you got to walk. It's not going to kill you to walk a little bit, burn off that freaking icy or all those freaking Cane's chicken fingers that you've been chowing down on, getting a little chubby during the summer.
Glenn's taking a little shot at me. I feel like he's staring me down during this podcast. And just the classic thing that I think a lot of our parents probably taught us is, leave a place better than you found it. You show up somewhere, there's, just you don't want to trash the place up. If you're in Oklahoma, this is all of our state. So whether it's private land or public land, like, this is our home, and you should treat it as your own home. And, you know, don't leave crap laying around. Don't leave your shotgun shells out there. Grab them. I mean, I understand if one flies into the ether and it's like whenever you drop a pin in class and it just disappears forever.
Yeah.
Gone forever, Aaron Hernandez. Yeah. Okay. Let me back up. That saying came about before he died. And I now feel a little guilty.
You're making fun of dead people, aren't you?
But, yeah. No.
Just leave it better than you found it.
Leave it better than you found it.
So, well, I guess, that'll kind of wrap it up for us today. Just to drive home, kind of, you're one to deer hunt. Look for those signs. Deer poop, deer prints, scrapes on the ground, little ends of branches nibbled off, some rubs on the trees, maybe some food. Watch that wind. Am I missing anything, Hudson?
I don't think so. Hey, if you see any, got any pictures of deer, got any rubs or anything, send us our way.
Yep.
You know, if you have any questions, send it us our way.
Yeah.
On Instagram, email, Facebook, whatever. We're happy to answer questions.
I'd much rather get a DM from you guys than some, I don't even know, some girl that's like, oh, you want to see me?
Yeah, we get a lot of those.
Link. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, getting a lot of those comments on our social media posts. But yeah, please reach out to us. And we'd love to see if you guys shoot a deer this season.
Yeah.
Send it our way. We'd love to show it off. Or, we don't even have to post it. We just love to see it. You know, it's awesome seeing you guys interact with us anyway. So
yeah. Sweet. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for episode 2. Tune in to us next week for a little podcast. Might be talking a little bit of recipes, talking a little eating, and hopefully talking some duck hunting because we are getting some awesome weather coming in. I am getting fired up. Huge winter snowstorm coming. If it pans out like it's supposed to, I hopefully am going to be posting some pile pics of some stacked up ducks. So I'm amped up about it.
Glenn's
I'm
jazzed.
feeling good. Enough of this deer hunt. It's time for me to slaughter some feathered animals. So
thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Yellowhide Outdoors, yellowhideoutdoors.com for our website. Give us a like. Tell somebody about it. Got some t-shirts coming out soon if you guys are interested in that. And thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week.
peace.